have some of my questions.
Okay, Connie's up there. Come on up, Mom sit. I like to say that. So I'll stand for a while. So good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to Rio Tinto Borax. I know some of you have been here before, but some have not. This is our visitor center. It is open every single day from 9 to 4 o'clock. And I have hosts that take you through. You only get to go down into the pit by invitation. And so if you are interested in doing that, I host a state of our business every April. And it's fun. Richard came this year and he donned, you should have seen him, a hard hat. And he had a high-vis vest on and some covers for his shoes. And because, you know.
The pit was 60 stories deep, right?
Yes. And what did you think of going down?
We were blown away by the innovation and technology and the passion that they have your employees have.
I know. Everyone here they're just excited to be here. So I'll tell you a little bit more. After we get through the rest of the introductions, I would like everyone to just tell me who you are and tell me who you represent today. So let's start right here.
Warren Knowles, I'm with County Kern Tourism and Film Commission.
Exactly.
Amanda Barnes, Economic Development Specialist for Mojave.
Perfect. Nice representation. Okay.
I'm Doug Clipperton, President of the Mojave Chamber of Commerce. Bill Deaver asked me to be sure we got representatives since they're here today.
Perfect. Give our best to Bill.
Susie Clipperton, Mojave Adult School, from the Mojave Unified School District, for dual enrollment in college and career, and I've been to the bottom.
You've been to the
With
bottom
the high
of
school
the
kids, so it's been a little while.
It's pretty cool though, huh?
It is
Yeah.
so cool.
Yeah.
Terrible. It's wonderful.
Yes.
Tim Cunningham, Fisher Ford Media. I have a section in Duluth.
Yes.
Tanya Martinez with S Power Solar.
Okay. You know, we're thinking about doing solar out here. I mean, it's not like we don't have a lot of land. We have 22,000 acres outside of the line. And so solar is one of the things that we're looking to see if we can partner with someone. So just put that in the back of your mind.
Thank you.
Josh Mann with Waste Management.
John Joyce, I publish the Roseman News.
Lisa Checkley, Roseman Municipal Advisory Council.
Good afternoon, I'm Laura Lynn Wyatt. I represent 2nd District Supervisor Zach Scribner's office.
Philip Peters with Supervisor Wayne Gleason's office.
Richard Chapman, Kern EDC.
Perfect. And I'm Beth Garrison, and I'm the External Affairs, Communities, and Communications Manager for Rio Tinto Borax. So today, I'm just going to say a few words about us. I didn't do a PowerPoint for today. I'm just going to give you guys some updates. And when you go to the window, you will see the largest open pit mine in the state of California. And we are really, truly blessed to be doing business in Kern County. Can you imagine if they found this borate mine in, just outside of San Francisco? We wouldn't be mining much, would we? So we, however, in all of our endeavors, we do all we can to protect the environment, to remain sustainable, and to be a good partner with all of our regulators. We have good relationships with the County of Kern, and we intend on keeping it that way. We started back in 1887 in Death Valley. That's where we mined first. And we mined there for 45 years. And that, when we left, we said, this place is really cool. It should be a national park. So we donated the land to the federal government to create Death Valley National Park. Many people don't know that, so it's pretty cool. We still own 10,000 acres adjacent to Death Valley National Park. You cannot tell if you are there. You don't know that you're on private property. People drive on it all the time. We intend just to keep it that way because, putting a bunch of fences up in Death Valley, if you've ever been, wouldn't be too cool. So the Death Valley Nature Conservancy, however, is very interested in in purchasing those 10,000 acres. That would make them by just hand over fist the largest national park in the United States. It already is. Death Valley is the largest national park. A lot of people think, oh, Yellowstone or this or that. No, Death Valley actually is. So, and if you've never been, you really should go, but just not today, because I'm sure it's probably 119 or some temperature. So go in like, you know, December, January, February. It's absolutely stunning. So anyway, that's a little bit about our history. We did at that time have the 20 Mule Team. Everyone knows the 20 Mule Team Borax brand. That was our initial product. And we had the 20 mules, and they hauled 20 tons. And it took them 10 days to get from Death Valley to Mojave, to the rail spur. They unloaded in Death Valley. They loaded up and took it to our port, which we still own in Long Beach, okay? And so it took them 10 days to get back. So it was 20 days all. They hauled 20 tons, and there were 20 mules. But the truth is, there wasn't 20 mules. There were only 18 mules. But that didn't sound too cool, right? 18 mules. and so they, however, needed 2 horses. The horses were the brains, the mules were the brawn. So they just called it the 20 Mule Team and hoped people didn't notice that 2 of them were horses. But if you go out and look at my replica of the 20 Mule Team, you'll go all the way to the back and you will see their ears are different. They are indeed horses. But that would sound even more awesome. 18 horses and 2 horses. Mule Team. Yeah, that makes sense. So anyway, those are a little bit of history. Today we mine borates, and it takes 48 minutes to get from the bottom of the pit to where we process. We start the processing, and we haul 270 tons. So think about what it took us: 10 days, 20 tons, 48 minutes, 270 tons. So we've progressed quite a bit. It's a duopoly when you come to borates. Borates are used in your cell phone, in the wind turbine blades you see. They're used in insulation, in 2x4s to prevent mold. Borates are used in so many things that if you go out, and when we're done, go look at my display, you'll see all kinds of things that may be surprising to you. So we're one of 2 large borate mines in the whole world. The other one is in Turkey. We discovered it, we developed it, and then the Turkish government took it.
Thank you very much.
Exactly, that's what happened. But we're good, and so we continue to look to the future. So just at the beginning of this week, we announced internally, but when you announce things internally, we know it is an external communication, that we have changed our name. We are now Borates and Lithium. So what that means is we have discovered a way that we can get lithium from our gangue pile. Our gangue is our waste material. We have 90 years of gangue. And really smart people, way smarter than me, figured out how they can take that, reprocess it, and extract lithium. And as you all know, lithium is really critical as we move forward for battery storage, for batteries and electric vehicles and all that stuff. People say that by 2030, we will all be driving electric vehicles. So we know the market is out there. So, but in addition to our lithium project, which is relatively small, we have a mine that we are developing in Serbia. So that Serbian mine is 100% lithium. There's a very large amount of lithium in Serbia. So we have some, again, really smart people figuring out how to develop that in a very sustainable and environmentally safe way. We are taking what we do here over to that country. And our managing director, Richard Cohen, is the managing director of the new business, which is Borate. So that's kind of a big deal. And it takes our little U.S. Borax business to a much larger scale. Now, when I say that we are Rio Tinto U.S. Borax, we're part of the Rio Tinto family that operates mines all over the world. South Africa, South America, Australia, Canada, and so we are one. And they have copper mines and diamond mines. I always think it'd be cool to work at a diamond mine. But, you know, but I understand they check your shoes when you leave.
No samples.
For samples. Yes, so they don't check my shoes for borates. Because my tires have enough borates that I could, you know, do a load of wash. Anyway, does anyone have any questions? I really, truly welcome you here. Yes?
When you said the name, it's Rio Tinto Borax and lithium, what do you mean, the name?
Well, I'm going to send out a press release. I would really prefer you guys hold off on saying it so it's totally accurate. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So please, if you wouldn't mind, and just we're going to send out a community press release. So, is that okay, John? Is that okay?
Yeah. I have another question.
Yes.
Are you sure that the government of Serbia won't take away your mine there?
That's an excellent question.
They'll be happy to take it.
You know what? In my little heart, I've never whispered those words. I have no idea. I don't know. Hopefully not. We operate successfully in countries all over the world. And one of the things we do is we really interface with communities and government. I am unsure of what happened back in the day when Eddie, that it's called the Eddie Mine, was taken. I don't know, I wasn't here. But we have amazing relationships with communities. And so here at US Borax, that's part of my job, is to sustain those relationships with government agencies and with the community of Boron and all of my communities. My employees here, we have about 800 of them. They live everywhere. About 100 of them live in Boron, but another 95 live in Tehachapi, and 113 live in Antelope Valley. And then another 90 live in Victorville, Barstow, Ridgecrest, Cal City. You know, all of those communities are my communities. So I have to spread a wide net. Does that make sense?
Mary Beth, was there any impact on the operations from the earthquake?
Thanks for asking. The only impact was the crack in my sidewalk outside. So, which they have repaired today. So, if you use the restroom before you leave, you'll see a nice repair job. But our team acted quickly, very, very quickly. We were all texting each other within 2 hours of the incident, and they did seismic testing of every single slope. We had a structural engineer look at every single building, every single operation. We shut down our furnaces just because of the risk of gas and those sorts of things. Everything was shut down. We shut down operations Friday night because, you know, the second quake, the 7.1, it was dark outside. So we just, number one, we just shut down operations, brought everybody back in. Safety is our number one priority here. That's why I wear this very lovely shirt. So you can see my high vis. But safety is our priority, and we proved it by shutting down operations until we could understand the impact the earthquake had on the property. And the good news is it didn't have, my crack was the biggest thing found. And because, you know, the public is up here, it was a priority for us because it had shifted, you know, the sidewalk. So we did understand that today there was like a 3.6 or 3.7 earthquake in Barstow. So, you know, folks, welcome once again to California. Here we are. You know, we all got sleepy for 20 years and then we got right away. But imagine what the damage of a 7.1 would have been in a metropolitan area. And no disrespect at all to anyone that lives in Ridgecrest, but the damage, you know, was much less than had it been in the heart of Los Angeles. Because there are just so many more people in densely populated. I do understand Cereals Valley mine, mineral mine, out near China Lake, is without electricity. They have shut down operations right now. So we're reaching out to them and seeing how we can help. And our team did, on Saturday morning, I sent 4 pallets of water to Ridgecrest. Again, because we have residents that are there, and that matters to us. And then a lot of other people came in after that, but we tried to be the first ones to be there to help. Water's a big thing to us, that's why I make everyone happy. Water. Anyone have any questions? I just once again want to welcome the new people to Rio Tinto U.S. Borax, and this is the largest open pit mine in California. So if you haven't been, if you're interested, I'd like everyone to sign in. Every April, we do something called the State of Our Business, and we invite people here. You get an update on the business, but you also have the opportunity to go actually to the bottom of the pit. She's done it. It's cool. You want to go? Just when you sign in, just put a little star by your name, and then I'll invite you next year. Okay? Okay. Thank you so very much. Is that a lot? Is that too much?
Some new, yeah, the new
Yes.
people that came in,
Yes.
Judy and
Excellent.
Rose.
I'm Judy Hyatt from the Kern Valley.
Hi, Julie. How are you?
I'm good, thank you.
Nice. Another McLeeson person.
Absolutely.
I've invited Nick out here. You know, Zach's come many times, but I've invited Nick, and he's never come, so.
Maybe he's afraid.
And then everybody else,
He's tough. He's not afraid of heights. Okay, and behind Judy?
yeah, who is?
Oh, I am Shalyn. I'm from the County Library.
Hi, Shalyn. Nice to meet you. Welcome. That's important to us in Boron. Thank you for coming.
Nikki Olafson with S-Power.
Okay, another S-Power person? Perfect.
Elizabeth Hamlin,
Okay, well,
Small
you know.
Business Development Center out of CSUB.
Okay, at CSUB, you work for Jake?
I do.
Okay,
Great.
perfect. Yes.
My name is Keith Huff. I work with technology and own my own company.
Okay, very nice, very nice.
I'm Project Development Solutions. I'm a consultant in
Okay, and where are you two out of? Where do you?
Bakersfield.
Bakersfield, nice. Okay, okay. Okay, is that everything?
I'd like to see with Cal City that you're going to do your regional report as you have to leave, so
I
I'll
have to
defer to
leave.
you.
So I'm going to go off turn.
I'm sorry.
Okay, Miss Alexia, you are turn.
So can I go?
Yes.
Okay. Real quick, some updates. Thank you for the glasses, otherwise I cannot see. So I've got news from, so I'm Alexia Sveda. I am one of the economic development specialists for Kern County under the grant that Amanda and I work on. And my office is in California City, so I'll start there and go out. Alberto's, it's a franchise. It opened last week. And it hired locally within California City and created 20 jobs. And I hope he gets to stand up and say a little bit about what he's doing. He actually moved to California City because it was more cost effective to do business in our city. So, like I said, hopefully I'll do something from there. We've got several other businesses lined up, interested in coming to California City, a couple of things in escrow, can't talk about it quite yet, next time. And then also talking to Keith and a couple of other people, we have people asking if we have a co-work space. So we're now working on getting one done, probably where the Chamber of Commerce is. We've got the space, we're going to renovate this year anyway, and we've got the space, and so we're going to at least have some sort of a co-working space, and if it does well, then let's see where it takes us. Data. I have been crunching data, as Richard knows. I have been crunching data. So we get a lot of questions. Amanda and I have been getting a lot of questions. Suzette, we can understand why she's not here. Ridgecrest, she probably has a lot more to do there. with earthquakes. So, for example, California City has a retail potential within 15 miles of its center of $140.6 million. That's the void we have. I found out that the disposable income per household in the city center is $44,645, which is a lot more than I thought it would be. We've had an increase of 47% in restaurant sales in the past 5 years. Hotel occupancy went up over 60% just in the last year, and in the last 5 years, it was 56%. So it was growing. I know they changed management, and it's grown again. We're at max with the hotel. And then some other really interesting things we found out in the past year. We've doubled our people with postgraduate degrees. We now have 234 of them in California City. That was an interesting number. And overall increase in the last year, based on sales tax of our sales, is 2.4%. And I've been working up void reports, and I've got them now for Rosamond, Boron, even up in Randsburg and Johannesburg, and I'm sharing all of this then with my counterparts so that we have that handy, because we've got people coming to us asking us for it, and that's a good thing. And one last thing, I think I mentioned at the last meeting what we're doing here in Boron when it comes to, so don't forget, thank you. We're working on a project here in Boron where we will be taking the old vintage and neon signs and refurbishing them, and there are a good half dozen or more of them, and we already have the first sign picked up, we already have the report, and hopefully we'll be talking about a GoFundMe site or so at the next meeting.
That's cool. And you're going to do a neon sign park, right? Like
not necessarily.
Or are you going to keep them in?
There are a couple of signs that don't have homes, so we will put them somewhere where you can park and look at the sign. The rest of them are still in front of businesses, which of course will attract business to them. Yes. And then if we have a nice little driving route and an app, or I'm working on the website also, and get people off the road and into Boron.
And one of the other things we're doing, the next 3 weekends in Boron, we're doing a cleanup day. So they are going to clean up easements throughout the community. They've identified the worst ones, and they have really, really renewed enthusiasm. So I'm really, really happy about that.
It's a great community.
That is.
Working in Boron.
Yeah.
Does anyone have questions for me?
Rosamond, any Rosamond updates?
Rosamond, yeah, I guess this is new since the last meeting. There is a bank that is looking at expanding to Rosamond. We did have a meeting. It was a very productive, very positive meeting. We now have to answer some questions and do some negotiating, but definitely walked out of the meeting feeling very positive. Because for those of you that don't know, Rosamond does not have a bank, and we'd really like to have one. So it looks like there's a possibility.
Can you disclose which bank?
I don't know that I can. Okay. I will err on the side of caution.
I know they're very happy with the reception they're getting, so.
Good. Good.
Talk to them this week.
Oh, super. Any other questions?
Can you email me that?
Can I email you that?
Yeah, for the Rosamond area?
Yeah, sure.
All your little crunch numbers.
Oh, that, yes. Actually, I'm going to add more to that. And once I've added it, I'm going to share it with everybody. Okay. So give me another week or two, and then I have all sorts of stuff on Rosamond.
Yes.
Okay?
Yeah, that'd be great.
So I am really sorry, but I do have to dash. And Richard, thank you for letting me
And I'll
switch.
get back to touch.
Thanks for coming.
Okay.
Thanks.
Thanks.
Okay, we are going to move you up because we were just talking about Rosamond, and so it seems like the perfect segue. Come on. Everyone remember Tanya Martinez?
Okay. Oh, which one? Okay.
Oh, I'm so sorry. I wonder if you got my name here.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Tanya Martinez. I work for S-Power. S-Power is the largest private owner of operating solar power plants in the U.S. S-Power develops, engineers, constructs, owns, and operates solar and wind facilities. We have 1.5 gigawatts of operating assets throughout the U.S. Here's a pretty picture of a lot of our solar projects. We have 7 projects here in Kern County that we've constructed. To date, we've invested hundreds of millions of dollars in this county. So I'm here to introduce to you all our latest and greatest project in Kern County. It's located in the town of Rosemont. And here's our preliminary site layout, which is currently under review by the county. This is not the final layout, so you guys are aware. So this is the town of Rosemont up here. And the project sites are outlined in white. And then that really bright green line heading south is our proposed transmission line. We're proposing to interconnect to an existing Southern California Edison substation down here. It's about 10 miles south of the project. And this transmission line is all within LA County. Project site borders Kern and LA County, and the project's in Kern County. We are exploring alternative point of interconnection. There's a proposed LADWP substation just west of the project site, so we're also assessing that. So the transmission line route is still TBD. So current status of the project, it's under review by the county. We've been in the county's permitting process for over 2 years now. It's approximately 1,800 acres. It's projected to offset 600,000 tons of CO2 annually. Just to put things in perspective too, it'll generate enough electricity to power over 100,000 homes. So it's a pretty substantial project. Timing of the project, I mean, we won't be beginning construction for this project until mid-2021, and it'll be 1 year to 2 years of construction. So we're projecting that this project will be online by the end of the year 2022. So the benefits of the project will generate, or it'll create approximately 600 construction jobs at its peak. And a lot of people say, oh, well, those are only temporary jobs. Well, yes and no. I mean, we'd love to continue to build projects in Kern County and keep projects going. We've constructed a lot of projects in the city of Lancaster and LA County, and we've been in Lancaster for over 7 years now, and we've been keeping those construction workers working consistently over the past 7 years. So, I mean, we'd love to do the same in Kern, keep those jobs going, those construction workers working. So, out of those 600 construction jobs equate to over $26 million in local wages. And then that stimulates over $37 million in economic output. A lot of our construction workers will be staying in the local hotels, eating at local restaurants, buying gas locally. So that's the indirect benefits of the project construction alone. During operations, we estimated that there'll be approximately $55 million in labor income for operations and maintenance over the lifetime of the project. And that's approximately $3.5 million annually in local labor income, just maintaining the plant. So over the lifetime of the project, it will also contribute over $7 million to Kern County directly, in terms of sales tax benefits, property tax benefits, and impact fees. And again, another benefit that I mentioned earlier is air quality. The project will offset over 600,000 tons of CO2 per year. And that's really what's driving this project is California's goal to be 100% renewable by 2045. That's pretty substantial. Policy is what drives the renewable energy industry, and California has one of the most aggressive goals for renewable energy in the country. So it's a great industry to be in, and I think that means job security for me anyways. So, in addition to the economic benefits, S-Power really takes pride in working with the local community and being involved in the local community. Nikki, who also works for S-Power, she's our community relations coordinator, PR person. She lives here in not too far in Tehachapi. And we make a real effort to get involved and support local organizations like Little League, Rosamond High School, Kern County Sheriff's Department. We support STEM programs, and a lot of these organizations we continue to support. Here's some pretty pictures. In addition, S-Power has supported IBW's efforts to hire veterans, to train and hire veterans to install solar. That's their Helmets to Hard Hats program. We've sponsored various fairs and training as well. So just some random details about the project. The panels will be approximately 5 to 7 feet high. In the project, the panels will track the sun from east to west as the sun rises and sets to optimize the output of the system. It'll be fenced and monitored 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. They're pole-mounted systems, so you can see right here the panels are mounted on these poles. And those poles are driven directly into the ground. So if you have a relatively flat site, you don't have to grade the site at all. You do have to remove the vegetation, but those piles are driven directly into the ground by these pile drivers, they're called. We do use best management practices for managing vegetation and wildlife, and there's also best management practices for dust control. We use a lot of water and mulch during construction to minimize any airborne dust that'll be generated by the project.
Do you mow vegetation?
Yeah, pretty much. Yep. And depending on the site too, I mean, this project in Rosamond, it's a flat site. I mean, other sites, if it's like this, we may have to do some grading, but this project, no. I mean, we will grade the roads, perimeter roads, but that's it. Yeah. So, thank you for your time. Just here to garner support for the project. I'd just like to direct you guys to our website, racewaysolar.com. We are looking for letters of support in the project. That's important for us and for the supervisors and the planning department to see that we have the support of Kern County for this project. Thank you for your time, and does anyone have any questions?
How has support been in the community of Rosamond?
It's a mixed bag. I mean, the project, we try to locate these projects as remotely as we can from communities and residents, but sometimes it's hard to avoid. So there are some residents that are concerned about the location, the proximity to their homes. But then there's also a lot of other, people that are in support of the project, local community members, businesses. I think RMAC is in support of the project.
We have not seen a statement yet.
Make that clear. Okay. So, yeah.
What are the streets, like the location? They're trying to engage
So
with
it's
the map.
south of Rosamond Boulevard, north of West Avenue A.
Okay. You don't have to how far that's out off of 90th.
90th? Okay.
So the interconnection is Del Sur right now, proposed.
The interconnection's near Del Sur, yeah. It's really the Antelope substation. It's a major substation. There's a lot of transmission lines in the area.
Yeah.
So most of it's in LA County? I don't understand. understand.
Nope.
Where is it?
The project's in Kern County, so,
It's those white blocks there,
yeah, it's the white blocks,
and
and
those are all in Kern County.
that's Kern County.
Where, you call it Raceway because it's near Willow Springs? Why is it
Yeah,
called
there-
Raceway?
There's a raceway, not too far from the project, a racetrack.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's called Raceway.
It comes all the way down to 60th and Roseman Boulevard.
To where?
60th and Roseman Boulevard.
How many acres total?
1856. 1,856.
1,856.
Yes.
You know, we can send you that slide too, if you want it.
That's always good. So
Yeah.
that we can hear the information.
Any more questions? Okay, thank you.
So let's see, I don't have a PowerPoint, but I'm going to pass out this copy. Kern County recent economic update. Pass that to everyone. We're actually basically the top, almost the top tier quartile of performing metros, and that's in terms of mid-sized metros in terms of job growth. So of course, with job growth, you want to make sure those jobs pay well. It's not just about having a bunch of new jobs. So you can see on the bottom, it talks about what are the fastest growing industries. And for Kern and other services, it's kind of a hodgepodge. I won't go into that. But you can see healthcare. If you look in the middle, we're ranked 4th out of the top 100 metros, which is very impressive. Construction, 4th, as well as mining and logging. So I guess you all probably would follow mining.
We probably felt the
And they put oil in there as well. So that's number 2. And so you can see actually we're really performing well. In the middle you see in terms of our percentile trend. A couple of years ago we were in the bottom, basically like 98 out of 100. Now, the good news is we're in the top quartile. So I think that's, we have, our economy stabilizing, and actually we are seeing a significant uptick in project activity across all sectors. We had, one proposed project, which is the Hard Rock Casino and Resort. We're excited, working with that group and having a $600 million investment in the county, 400 rooms, entertainment venue, 13 restaurants. We always talk about new money because I would imagine most of the people coming there are from out of the county, so they're spending their money, they're bringing it to our county, and then they end up spending it and they leave at the end of the day, right? But they have a good, the impression of the county is always important, and we think this will help the cachet of Kern County. Now there'll be, both at the federal level, if you're at Indian Affairs, moving through that, the state compact, and I know government-to-government agreement. So there's some various steps moving forward. But when we saw a significant excitement from outside the area when that announcement was made. So that's one project. On another side, Lexi talked about co-work. If you saw Bitwise announce that they are going to build a Bakersfield campus. Now this is not just going to impact Bakersfield. I think it's the region. I met with one of the co-founders the other day, and we were talking about the whole county. And I mentioned Saracosa and their cybersecurity programs. We talked about obviously the innovation here, be it China Lake, Edwards, Mojave, renewable energy, the Rio Tinto, that type of mining activity. So this is kind of a network, I imagine. Bitwise, if some of you I know, Tunia came on our trip 2 years ago. We took people up to see what they have done in Fresno. So imagine 6 years ago they had 5,000 square feet in downtown Fresno. Today they have 250,000, creating 8,000 jobs. We have this great network already developing, throughout the county. And so I think the startup activity is another key to our success. So stay tuned for more on that. But we just had our annual dinner, and it was, Josh, 107 degrees outside?
It
It was warm.
Okay. Not every year. But it was kind of indicative of the year we've had. I already see we have 9 projects. Success is about 4,500 jobs. And again, it's that public-private partnership that Mary Beth mentioned, industry working with government, education. And I think our message is really getting out there, and we are seeing significant uptick again in client inquiries coming in, be it down in the LA Basin or San Francisco, or companies looking to set up a West Coast office. So I can go on, but I will, for the good of the order, move to the next group. But any questions or comments?
Did you say this is all Kern County, or it says Bakersfield?
Oh, pardon me?
This is all Kern
Yeah,
County?
Bakersfield. This is the whole county.
Okay.
So they call it the Bakersfield MSA Metropolitan. Yes. But if you go online, it's all, what is it, all 8,400 square miles, or, the 900,000 people.
Okay.
So, and that's again why, our economy, the strength of our economy, the diversity of economies throughout the county is, one of our key strengths. So I think we thank you, and let me know if you have any questions.
Nicely done, nicely done. Okay. So next up, do we have someone from Board of Trade? Yes, we do. Sorry.
That's okay. We are currently pursuing the tourism film primarily through social media due to budgetary constraints. We're expanding that, our visitkern.com. We've got some projects we're working on to reach out internationally. And since we're limited now to the events that we attend, we have a pretty substantial list of international contacts with tourism. And so we're finding better ways to reach out to them and spotlight highlight our communities in ways that other communities are. We've been looking at like Monterey and Los Angeles, some other areas that reach out to spotlight their communities, their tourism, their economic development in that direction. So we're revamping some of our programs in that direction. As far as our film work, we're just loaded with film permits. We probably do 5 to 10 a week. Tremendous amount. And that ranges, a lot of it's commercial, some of it's feature film, some of it's student work. Primarily, a lot of it in East Kern, in this area. That's where a lot of the filming takes place. So we're staying pretty busy with that.
Are there any movies that we've seen lately that have filmed here, or videos, or?
Well, we don't talk about what's in production, but Top Gun 2 was out here filming both on base, which we permitted some of the things. BLM land is permitted through the RICBB, so both of us issued permits for that. Quite a few things going on, like commercial work, tremendous amount of commercial work coming through. So we're pretty happy about that. As far as I'm also part of countywide communications, we definitely are staying on top of the earthquake situation. Work through that, making sure that people were aware of what was happening and what was going on. A lot of coordination with emergency services, and so we want to, everyone know we've kept up on that, continuing with our coverage and our coordination for other areas of the county, especially that are affected by that. So that's basically what I have.
Thank you so much. SBA, small business.
Hello everyone. So we've got a few fun things going on. I'm going to start off with the earthquakes. We all felt that. And we're keeping a close eye on the declaration going out from the President and working closely with SBA on determining when the economic injury part of the SBA recovery is going to come into play. So right now we're doing preliminary assessments to check the physical damage of the buildings. So we've heard from FEMA and SBA on how they can help those businesses and homes recover. What the SPDC is working on is helping the small businesses understand how economic impact or economic injury is occurring to them. So it's not just going to be people around the epicenter, it's going to be surrounding communities and counties as well who may feel impact from these earthquakes. So, for example, if a small manufacturer, Mojave, is doing aerospace parts and their largest purchaser is the base, well, the base is closed, not buying items, they're incurring economic impact and injury. And so the SBA has a great program where they can have low interest, long-term loans to help them with their working capital. What we want to do is help small businesses through that process so that we're maximizing their understanding of how much they're entitled to, and then potentially working with other lenders to make sure that they're getting the money they need to move forward and recover from the impact of these earthquakes. Which ties into our webinar next week. It's actually going to be our 100th webinar, and we're doing it on the earthquake relief and what the SBA and the Office of Disaster Assistance can do to help small businesses. So I'm going to share that with Richard, if you could help distribute that for us.
Yeah, post that.
Absolutely, and I have a few flyers. I'm going to drive out to Ridgecrest after this and take them to the resource fair out there for our businesses locally to try and get them understanding that there's a lot of help out there for them. And we're completely free. All of our events are free and our services are free. It's already paid for through the SBA, through the county, through the state. So we want to be there for our businesses in the community. The next thing I want to talk about is, I forgot to say that I'm here on behalf of Kelly. He had something come up on the last minute, and so I got to make the drive today, which I'm happy to say he's going to go the back way home to 178, which is always fun. Get a tour of the eastern side. But I'm sorry for the here. Sorry. We're working on SBIR. I talked about this last time we were in Mojave. I got to stand in his place, and we're really focused on trying to get these innovation research grants in our community. We want to see this $2.5 billion given out by the government into the hands of innovative people in our communities. So we're working closely with the Indian Wells Valley Economic Development Center, the County of Kern, and the base on getting, we're going to have 2 workshops already were scheduled to move forward. If something is to happen and we're not able to follow up on that, we'll keep you updated on locations. But August 28th and September 11th, we're looking at doing 2 6-hour intensive workshops for entrepreneurs and for people on base to help them understand what small business innovation research grants are and how they can write the grant to award a small business, or be the small business writing the grant to receive the grant. And lastly, but not least, we're going to have our 2nd annual East Kern Capital Summit on September 27th in Tehachapi at the Slice of Life. We really enjoyed our Capital Summit last year. We had a great turnout in Cal City, and our best way to describe the Capital Summit is it's the reverse of Shark Tank. Instead of entrepreneurs pitching to investors, we have grant programs, we have alternative lending sources and banks telling entrepreneurs, small businesses about their programs and government programs, how they can get funds for their business to help them grow. And I think I did it. Thank you.
Well done. Anyone have any questions of her? Okay, we're going to go to government now. We're going to start with District 1.
Right.
Bill.
At the risk of getting myself in trouble with Mary Beth, I say it's my first time out here, but this is pretty awesome. Can we come out and do a tour?
Yes, yes.
I'm driving with a big trucks.
Oh, I know. You need a good license. Only Jay Leno in my time has been given that opportunity, but it's pretty darn cool, isn't it?
Well, first off, I was speaking with Dave Janis, and on behalf of him and Mayor Breeden and a few of the other folks out in Ridgecrest, they understandably couldn't be out here today, but they just wanted to say sorry that we're able to make it. As you can imagine, First District has been all about earthquake in the past, a little over a week, and it's just been all-consuming over there. We've been spending days over there at the time. Supervisor Gleason's over there right now at the local assistance center, and then at the shelter over at Kern McGee. FEMA's on the ground right now. Red Cross is still active. Last I heard, there's still about 168 people in the shelter, I believe.
Wow.
Yeah, they're from Ridgecrest, Trona, all over that area. Mayor Breeden has been talking with Governor Newsom, Senator Feinstein, Congressman McCarthy, and they've all made personal commitments to helping out with whatever is needed over there to help in the recovery efforts. She's been an absolute rock star in this whole thing, Mayor Breeden. She's been tirelessly working to make sure that everything is going to get back to normal as soon as possible. As I said, FEMA's on site right now. I know the city, I think the most recent estimates I heard, there's about $40 or $50 million worth of damage in Ridgecrest alone. I'm not sure about the base and some of the outlying areas. I'm sure that number is going to go up significantly. So that's pretty much what I've got for the earthquake. There's a few other things going on in the county right now. The census, which will be coming out in 2020, they are working on getting money out to counties to get out to nonprofits and other groups to reach out to the hard-to-count populations. So that's a huge effort. We're going through that right now as far as determining, what our action plan is and allocating those dollars, which it's really important that we get all those people counted because that ties back to our federal funding, state funding, money for building roads, money for different community services. And unfortunately, we're trying not to lose sight of that with all this earthquake business going on, but it's been a busy couple of weeks to say the least. There's one issue that came up this morning on my way over here. I still don't have my hands around it really, but they're talking about shutting down power up in Lake Isabella as part of fire prevention. I don't know the exact details on it, but supposedly because they were held responsible for the Erskine fire, they were worried about having the lines energized if there was a windstorm or something to knock down the lines that could potentially start another fire. And so that issue was just developing as I was on my way out here. So I don't have much to report on that, but I know Supervisor Gleason was on the phone with SoCal Edison and with PG&E. Our Chief of Staff was talking with our emergency response team. And in the event that they do shut the power off, the county is going to activate our emergency ops center and make sure that nobody gets caught off guard up there, that all the resources are available to residents up there, and hopefully avert this thing before anything really comes of it. Lastly, I know we've been talking the last couple of meetings about the East-West Kern meeting, and speaking with Dave Janis and a few of the other people on the way up here. There are some concerns not knowing exactly what state the base is in, whether or not we're going to be ready by our proposed September meeting date. But hopefully, Richard, we can all get together next week and once the dust is settled a little bit and kind of reevaluate where we're at and see what we can do going forward.
Yeah, actually, there's a typo. It's on the bottom. It should be September 12th, which is a Thursday. We have a tentative place in Bakersfield. I have to confirm. Plenty of parking in the facility, but I should know within the next couple of days.
Perfect. Yeah, I appreciate all the work you've been doing on this. Hopefully we can get it just maintained and hang on to that date. So that's really all I've got right now. Be happy to answer any questions that anybody has.
So I've been hearing that I live in the valley, so I've been hearing the commercials on the radio that we might shut your power down. Is that just going to be high winds, or are they just what kind of scope?
That's a good question. I honestly don't understand what the criteria is exactly. just from initial reports, I know a lot of people were really up in arms about it, including Supervisor Gleason. And he, understandably, obviously doesn't want to risk a fire being started, but he also doesn't want to see anybody lose power up there. So hopefully, as soon as I leave, I'll get some more info. But if anything develops or anything big comes of it, I'll coordinate with Richard and everybody else and hopefully get some info out to you guys.
Shut the power down. Where? What area?
From what they were saying, is in the Lake Isabella area. I don't know if that's a substation up there that they're going to shut down, or if they're going to just de-energize certain parts of their line that they think are in particularly high risk. Hopefully, it's minimal.
Is there any information out of the base on the earthquake damage?
I know that they're still only open to essential personnel, and that they are in non-mission ready status right now. As far as damage estimates, I haven't heard any numbers. I haven't heard of exactly what's going on out there. I think they're kind of reticent to put that info out right now. Hopefully we'll be hearing something soon though, and hopefully it's not significant, but both of the epicenters were on China Lake property, so it's a possibility.
Yeah.
Anybody else? All right, thank you.
Okay, District 2.
Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Laura Lynn Wyatt. I'm with 2nd District Supervisor Zach Scribner's office. A couple things that I want to touch on today. On June 20th, the supervisors did approve a preliminary budget for the county. There are some changes that are being made towards the end of this month, and they do anticipate full adoption of a budget in mid-August. So they want to share that with you. Economic development, Mary Beth touched a little bit on our project that we're working on with the residents in Boron. This Saturday will be the first cleanup day of 3. We're going to do 3 Saturdays in a row, 6 a.m. to 9 a.m. And Rio Tinto has donated pallets of water, the county of Kern, trash bags, gloves, things like that. They will have a pass to the dump for that day to dispose of what they collect. And the idea behind it is not only beautification, but fire prevention. There's a lot of dry tumbleweeds and things built up in the alleyways and common areas that can be hazardous. So there's a nice, energetic group of residents in Boron. There's talk that we may see the football team, which would be great. So we're working on that.
It's early.
It's early, but it gets hot, so we're trying to beat the heat and get out there at 6 in the morning. We are working right now with Friends of the Depot. Friends of the Depot is a nonprofit organization based up in Tehachapi, and I'm sure a lot of you are familiar with the Tehachapi Loop stop, right? Everybody knows what the loop is if you live in Kern County. Right now, and for many, many, many years, it's been a very small area where you pull over and the monument is there and you're crossing the street. And there's not a lot of traffic on the street, but it is curvy and things like that. So preliminary designs of a observatory platform, I guess you could call it, or a deck, if you will, that will extend out away from the road to give pedestrians a larger area to stand and watch the trains. Preliminary drawings of that have gone from county planning to the Friends of the Depot for approval. We're waiting on a small section. They had to ask for a small easement from a private property owner for a corner of that decking. So we're waiting for that to be approved, but they're expecting as early as August construction starting on that. So that's yay for tourism, right? They come and spend the money in our communities, okay? So we're excited about that. New traffic signal going in up in the Golden Hills County area of Tehachapi, the corner of Red Apple and Westwood. They started moving a little bit of dirt there, and they do also anticipate that signal to be operational by late August.
And having lived in Tehachapi for almost 30 years, that is very important because people run onto the stop signs every other week.
Yes. Yes. New restaurant in Rosemont called Guido's at the Hangar. Very good Italian food. And it's right on the runway at the Rosemont Sky Park. And a lot of aviation enthusiasts such as myself that live in Kern County. Beautiful patio, and you're sitting right on the runway, so you get to watch the planes come in and out and have some great Italian food. So I attended the ribbon cutting that they had a couple weeks ago, so go try out Guido's at the Hangar at the Rosemont Sky Park. What else do I have? I'm going to steal a little bit of the city of Tehachapi's thunder. They couldn't be here today, but it covers our entire region. Walmart. Walmart is slated to open August 7th, and they anticipate roughly 200 jobs to the area. You can now see it from the freeway if you're just driving through. It's changed the landscape of Tehachapi quite a bit, but they've done a beautiful job with it. I can honestly say it's one of the best looking Walmarts I've seen in a long time. In the parking lot of Walmart, Kern Schools Federal Credit Union will be doing a full service branch. And there are also multiple pads available in that parking lot. To my knowledge, they have not been sold yet. So jury's still out on what else we're going to get. I know there's a lot of enthusiasm. My kids want Panda Express more than I can even explain. Let's see. Prop 68. I'm going to talk about Prop 68 money just a little bit. Parks. Parks are very, very important to communities, as you all know, right? Happy, healthy, lush, beautiful parks bring quality of life. They stabilize real estate sales. They stabilize our local sales tax, everything. They're an attraction. Quality community starts with quality park systems. So state park money, Prop 68 passed back in November. And that means that a lot of the smaller regions, such as our county, our regional, Tehachapi Valley Recreation Parks District, we are in knee-deep applying for some of that grant money. Tehachapi Valley Recreation Parks District has 2 projects going, and I know that the county has one going in Mojave. And we are trying to assist Rosemont. Hopefully they'll be applying at the next round to do some improvements in Rosemont. So we're super excited about Prop 68 money. I'll try to give you guys updates as to whether we win the grants or not, and what's awarded and what isn't. But there's some really exciting projects. So anyway, that's pretty much all I have. Any questions for District 2? Okay, great, thank you.
Very good. Okay, we already heard from Cal City, Kern River Valley, Ms. Judy.
Hi. That was quite a drive up here. It's one of those situations where you're coming up and it's like I've gone too far, but I guess I'll go some more and see where I end up. And this is amazing. I mean, it really is a...
Do you know the biggest danger is still to this day, when I go down, I just want to look like this. It's because going down the view is pretty phenomenal. Also, when you're done, if you just have 2 minutes, you walk around the building, you walk on top of the building, and your view down is spectacular.
I'll bet it is. I'll bet it is. Well,
it's outside.
In the Kern River Valley, we've got some good news, and we've got some bad news. The first news is we're getting a brand new grocery outlet in our community. They come in, they knock down an existing building that was in a sad state of repair. Bad news is we're getting a grocery outlet, and it's going to affect at least 4 of the local smaller grocers in the community because they can bring prices to the community that these folks can't. So as far as jobs, I don't know that it's honestly going to add jobs because the other groceries, and I know that the Sierra Gateway Market and Mount Mason Market have not recovered from the Erskine fire. We lost almost 300 homes, and in that vicinity, and those people, a lot of them left. If you know about the fire and have driven through South Lake, there's very few homes there. They do have some new construction on, I think it's 4 or 5 restaurants are going to be able to hang on, and then to get a double whammy with the grocery outlet was kind of a slap up the backside of the head. But we'll see where that goes. It is a new building, and we haven't had one of those for a long time. Real estate sales. I find it interesting that the real estate sales in the Kern River Valley are very strong at $125,000 or less. And we've got a lot of those properties. A lot of the properties that had mobiles on them, the vacant land, it's starting to sell. I don't know what, it's private property. We don't have a developer coming in to talk about doing anything of any magnitude. But on the other hand, $125,000 or less, it's a very strong market. Above that, not so much. And the higher you go, the less it is. We have dam construction going on and have for some time now. And the Corps has really been very cognizant of the community and the fact that we are a tourist-driven economy. And like this last weekend with the 4th of July, they weren't doing it, they stopped work on the dam so that there wouldn't be any interruptions of traffic or any, likelihood of anybody getting hurt because they're getting in the way of the construction folks. And it's a pretty amazing thing. I've never seen government be so cognizant of a small community's needs, and they are doing a great job. The contractor's doing a great job. On the other hand, when it comes to relocating some facilities, the Forest Service has 2 new buildings in the valley now because their visitor center was taken out for enlargement of the spillway. They built a beautiful visitor center in Kernville, and then they built a fire station in Lake Isabella. The community has been working with the Forest Service, the Corps, to get a visitor center put by the Powers Gateway. And all along, they've been working with Congressman McCarthy's office, and yes, we're moving down this, albeit slowly, moving down this path of getting a multi-agency visitor center. One of the downsides to having a long-term project is personnel changes. And all the personnel changes that have just recently taken place in the Corps, it's like we're back to square one. So we're still working very hard on that, and hopefully somebody will step up to the plate and say, you guys have been working on this for this many years, and it has been years. Let's see what we can do to get it moving again. I hope that happens. If not, I'm not quite sure where that's going to end up. We had an amazing 4th of July. We had visitors. I mean, it's been a long, excuse me, it's been a long time since I've seen the campgrounds and the hotels and just packed to the brim. And unfortunately, we lost some folks in the river, but you can't legislate against stupid. I mean, because that's really what it is. You look at that river coming down that canyon right now, and it's like, why would you even think about putting your big toe in that water? Before this closes June, next year is on May, so that it's projected that the fireworks will cost as much as $30,000 for the same 20-minute show, with possibly less actual explosions going on. So I'm not sure if that's going to happen next year. That's a lot of money to blow up, and the community doesn't, as much as they talk about loving their fireworks show, they actually don't going to put out the dollars. So we'll see. It's a maybe, maybe not. However, having said that, the community believed that the fireworks were the reason the tourists came there. When you go down and you start talking to the people that are camping along the lake and the river, and it was like 83% of them didn't even know there was a fireworks show. They were from outside the area. So that tells us, number one, our advertising is not getting through. And number two, that's not why they're there in the first place. So maybe we don't have to do that to keep attracting them. There's these laser shows that they have. Look into something like that. Maybe that's something that can replace it. Kern County is helping out, Supervisor Gleason, with the hospital. They have applied or are in the process of applying for a grant from Cal OES based on the disaster of the Erskine fire. One of the major items that's needed at that hospital is a generator that is large enough to run the hospital. That became very obvious during the Erskine fire because the water had to be shut off. Why did the water have to be shut off? Because the power went out. And we're all on wells. And Cal Water didn't have a backup. They didn't have a plan B if the power went out. So as part of the earthquake retrofits, and by the way, the hospital came through just fine up there. Some of the other buildings did have some slight damage, but they sure took a shake, rattle, and roll of Paradise Cove. You know, you're familiar with Paradise Cove restaurant. I'm sure you've been there. That was, they had a camera in there, and that building was just going crazy. And that was not even in Ridgecrest. Ridgecrest had a really good answer over there. But one of the obstacles that the hospital faced was they could not apply for the money themselves because hospitals were not included in an emergency plan that Cal OES put together. So Kern County can do that for us. And hopefully we'll get that hospital retrofitted with the components that we need to keep our hospital open. Because we don't get, people that live in the Kern River Valley don't have the golden hour to get someplace else if there's a heart attack or stroke or that kind of thing. And so there's already a health there, and all we need is to get our emergency room and acute bed unit up to the standard that the state of California is requiring and we're ready to go. And unfortunately, it costs $19 million to do that. It's been a great rafting season. It continues to be a great rafting season. We've got water, we've got water, we've got water. And I just wish there was some way we could set it over here and save it for next year.
Yeah.
The year after that, the year after that. It's just amazing when I'm driving up and down the canyon almost every day and I see these huge amounts of water just tumbling, and it's gorgeous. It's absolutely beautiful when you look at it. But it's like you want to put your arms around and say, mine, you know, just keep it here, keep it in Kern County. Things are quieting down in the valley as far as any kind of events that are going on. But again, our rafting season is really turning out good to where our restaurants and other food servers are doing very well. McDowell's is back open and is as good as it's always been. And we're looking forward to it being a good summer, and hopefully some of this will carry into the fall. Thank you.
Thank you, Judy. Excellent. Okay, Mojave. Let's welcome Mojave. I'm Judy. Okay. All right. I know. Who's going to talk?
You can all come on up here if you want.
Yeah, I'm good, thank you. Thank you, Brittany. First of all, not necessarily Mojave related, but Suzette, the Kern County Economic Development Specialist out in Ridgecrest, wanted me to convey that she's sorry she couldn't be here, same as the city of Ridgecrest and everything. They've got a lot to deal with there. Her time is much better spent there than here at the moment, in my opinion. But she said while there is some damage, quite a bit of damage and a lot to deal with, it's not like Northridge. So don't compare the two. It's, you know, it is significant, but luckily, you know, there's a lot of state and government aid coming in. FEMA is on the ground today, and they're evaluating all of the situation, and a lot of people are getting help. So that's it for Ridgecrest. And so for Mojave, I'm trying to think. Yeah, since the last meeting, we had road machinery open, which had been developing for a couple of years now, since before the grant that funds us was even fully in place. But they have all kinds of heavy machinery. They supply machinery to Golden Queen. Are they called Solidar now? Like, is it now? Okay, because I saw the emails changed, but I wasn't sure if the name had fully changed yet. had the groundbreaking for the transit center in Mojave, which that's been in various stages of development since 2014. And so it's really great that that's finally breaking ground. It's going to be a two-stage project. First the groundwork and then the actual building project. So we'll see. I don't believe there's a tentative date for when it's being completed, but at least, you know, things have started. Doug and I have participated in those Prop 68 meetings in Mojave for the Mojave East Park. There's been 2 so far, and the other 3 are scheduled. Seems like we've got some really great ideas and a lot that could be done with that park. It hasn't had any love in a long time, so hopefully that goes through, because that would be a really, really great thing for the community. Am I forgetting anything there?
I saw Virgin Orbit today.
Thank you. I literally just read the article before I drove down here, so I don't have a lot of information on it, but they successfully launched a rocket into orbit today off of a 747, which is really, really great. They will continue their testing of those rockets in Mojave, although they are based, you know, not in Mojave and Long Beach, but they've got a lot of testing to do. But the fact that they had a really successful launch is fantastic for the company. So that's all I have, unless I can think of anything.
Supplemented a little bit. I did over here the it was a groundbreaking for the transit center. They are estimating, and you know how estimates go, about 18 months to have the project completed. They're thinking around the end of October to have the first phase completed, which is the groundwork. It's the paving, the curbing, the underground utilities, all of that to get it going, and then they're going to go out for bid for the actual structure. I don't know if they're going to start using it without the structure. It'd be nice if they did, because right now the buses are all stopping in front of Carl Jr. and that's not a good situation. But it's going to be great. It will be open to every bus. Private charters, regional transit, Greyhound, Amtrak. There's like upwards of 50 buses going through that Mojave every day. And it will be a real transit center. When it's completed, they'll have a building so people can wait undercover for the buses. They'll have electronic boards with schedules and where's your bus now type of thing. They'll have a break room for drivers so that they can, so it'll be a real terminal. So that's really going to add to the crossroads of Mojave in addition to the highways and the railroad. The Virgin Orbit, it's good news that it's actually just a test dummy launch, so they just dropped it on Edwards. I don't know what they're going to do with it now. Take it to scrap, I guess. But it was good news that Virgin Orbit does plan to have some of their operations in Mojave Air and Spaceport. So there will be some of when they take the real thing up and send satellites into orbit. Some of that will take place from MASP, which is good news. Virgin Galactic is just about done in Mojave. Not spaceship Galactic. Virgin Galactic, the company that's actually going to take people for rides, is going to be moving to the facility in Mexico to complete their last bit of flight testing and start giving rides. But that's really a minor part of their workforce in Mojave. They'll still have a lot going on. They're building 2 more spaceships there. So that function will keep going. So that's good. I'd like to hear that. Don't know what's happening. Stretch things a little bit because you want to tell a little bit about your school.
We started in Mojave Adult School. I started in Mojave Adult School. I work for the district, and people can't tell me no. And we have the grant money. And this last year, our first year, I had 160 students. And in October, started a diploma track and graduated 3 students, which we have quite a few people that have interesting backgrounds. For some reason, they need education, but we have computers, welding, medical, Criminology, ESL in 2 different locations now, in Mojave. We have 3 Saracoso college classes in Mojave next fall. So we're going to have English, welding, and college success. I'm teaching that course. It's going to be fun. Come on in. Also in California City, we just articulated with Antelope Valley College our airframe and power plant high school course. So that's a 3-year course for California City High School. It's really cool. The FAA told me I needed $1 million, and I said, okay. I'm well over halfway being able to fund that totally with grants. The school district, the Mojave Unified School District is providing the classroom, but I'm providing the teacher, the materials, and all that sort of stuff, all with different grant money. And the adult school is also supported with grant money. You know, I think in education, I'm big in education, it's the way out of poverty, that money should never be an issue. And there's always somebody that'll give you money to just go after it. So it's just.
So are your students only Mojave people, or are they
Oh,
from
no,
the region?
they're all over the place. They come from Arvin, they come from Lancaster.
Okay.
They come from the spaceport, they want to learn advanced welding. So.
Do the welders end up with a certification?
Our welding teacher cannot certify, so if somebody wants to get certified, then we train them, and then we either bring someone from Bakersfield to certify them, or from Antelope Valley College, which my instructor also teaches at Antelope Valley College. So I'm dealing with 2 different colleges, and then we started.
Welding is one of the skill sets that we use here at the mine. And we have really good jobs for those people that want to stay in Eastern Kern. So just keep that in mind.
We've got some great welders.
Because we have on our website, usborax.com, there's jobs all the time, so. But must have, the minimum is a high school degree plus some of those certs.
Trying to take care of all of it.
Yep. Okay, thank you. Okay, so Bridgecrest would be up next. Do you want anything else you want to add? Judy?
Evidently, you were talking about the possibility of power being out in Kern Valley. Evidently, some notices went out to the people that live on what they call the Erskine Circuit. And that's primarily bodfish, and Lake Isabella area is close to bodfish. So
Okay.
we don't have any dates on it yet, she's checking.
Gotcha.
But anyway, they received notice that that is a possibility.
Okay,
Sooner
thanks.
rather than later.
Appreciate it.
Rosamond.
Lisa Checkley, Director of RMAC. So a lot's been happening in Rosamond lately, guys. April 20th, we are doing a cleanup with Waste Management. They're opening up their gates from 8 a.m. to 1 p.m. for a bulky drop-off. So that means everybody in Rosamond can go drop off their bulky items and they will transport for us.
What date did you say?
April 20th.
April?
No, I'm so sorry.
July?
Let's try July 20th. So July 20th is my niece's birthday, and so is April 20th. So I have 2 nieces, April and July. So July 20th. I apologize. July 20th. July.
That's a lot.
July 20th. So I never forget a birthday. They're both the 20th. Okay. We did get word this last month or so that our pool, that is the only county-owned pool, will be open next year. They did go ahead and they are training 2 people to maintain that pool, and it will be open next year.
Wow.
Wait, is that a new pool?
It is a community pool that's been there for years. It's been there probably about 10, 12 years now, but the RCSD ran it before with the park that was there, and they handed it over to the county last year. So the county last year couldn't do anything with it. It was all of a sudden. So this year they finally got people in training. It will be open next year.
How long has it been closed?
It's been closed. This time for 2 years.
This time.
Yes, this time. So it's going to be open from here on out. These parks. We also are going to be doing the Prop 68 to try to get funds to build up our 2 parks that we do have. They're county-owned parks. They're in Roseman. Like was said, Guido's did open. Guido's does have live performance, live entertainment as well on the weekends. But also we have a taco truck that's been in our town for years, and they just bought the building. So they're moving their taco truck into the building. Don Poncho's is moving into the old Mimi's building. Napa Auto Parts is moving in. They will be open in 2 months. They're moving to the old antique building on Diamond Street. They're over there doing construction as we speak. It is pretty awesome. Our Family Dollar will be open, hopefully, next month is the date. Is the end of August, they say. So we'll see. RCSD, they rehired Ron Smith. I'm sorry.
That was Steve Perez.
Steve Perez, I do apologize. Steve Perez is back with us for the RCSD. So Edwards Air Force Base, I know you guys have all heard about it. This is a major concern of mine that I have. Perfect timing. Edwards Air Force Base is doing their museum on the outside of the Edwards gates, but will bring approximately 20,000 visitors a year, is what they're saying, when they open in 2020. The problem with that being is I'm in the hotel business. I work in Lancaster. All of my hotels are full right now with solar panel and Edwards people. That's just one hotel. There's nowhere for these people to stay. So we do need to get the economics in Rosemont, Mojave, somewhere for hotels for these people to stay. I have a lot of my people drive all the way to Ridgecrest every day to work because they can't find a hotel close enough to Ridgecrest to stay at. So we do need to talk to maybe some developers and try to get something going for accommodations for these people who are
We're having some new hotels in Tehachapi. So we're an easy drive to Edwards.
Good.
People drive it every morning. I compete with them on the road every day.
And talk to Alexia, who had to go early.
Yeah.
She's
I have
working
it
with
in
her.
March.
And Alexia mentioned that Cal City's working on getting more. There's not any official information, but it is one of her priorities to bring another one to Cal City area.
Good. I'm hoping that we can try to make it a priority in my area too, because we do need, like I said, 90% of my clientele goes to Roseman or past for business. Septemberfest is September 21st. The parade will start at 10 a.m. on Diamond Street and will go to the Glendower Park. And after that is a big, huge party at the park with all kinds of vendors, food vendors, games, toys, prizes, contests. It's a big day that's been going on for probably the last 35 years in my town. I did it when I was little. So that's about all we have going on.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Any questions?
Do you have anything?
Mm-hmm. Just let it keep running. Yes, great news from Roseman Water. Steve Perez, whom you all may remember as a supervisor here in Kern County, called me right before lunch with Mary Beth, and he said, "John, La Junta approved our permit for the wastewater treatment plant. Now, Roseman has had a wastewater treatment plant for 10 years, $11 million, never did anything, never produced any water, never benefited the town. But now, La Junta has given permission to take that water, recharge it into the aquifer, into the basin. That gives us 1,000 acre-feet of new water every year. And that'll make up for the 1,000 acre-feet that the adjudication of the basin took away. So, watch out. Roseman is on the build again with water. Perez said he's been on the job 3 weeks, and it's probably going to be the highlight of his career, putting together this wastewater treatment plant recharge program. He expects to go out for bid within 8 weeks So, great news for us.
Yeah, really good. Congratulations on that. I know the adjudication did cripple Rosamond, right? Yeah.
Thank you.
Tehachapi, I don't see anyone, and I see some residents. I'm a Tehachapian, and part of their Greater Tehachapi Economic Development Council. We are, waiting for Walmart to open. It's the talk of the town. So the city has done an excellent job at really managing every single part of that build, that construction, to make it a Walmart that we can all be proud of. As we recognize, some of the criticism to that project has been that Walmart's bring communities down. The community of Tehachapi, I think, has really rallied together to make that not happen. So we'll see, though. We don't know what the economic impact will be on some of our other stores. So I believe they're trying to brace themselves against that. So we will see what that does for our town. Speaking of events, there is an event for anyone interested in coming to Tehachapi and supporting nonprofits in August, on August 10th. We have an event called Cheers to Charity, and it is 100%, we put the fund back in fundraiser. It is a event of wine and beer and food and music and silent auction. Anyway, it's a great, great event. It is held at the Tehachapi Airport. If anyone is interested, contact me or just go online and kind of look at our website at cheerstocharity.net. Anyway, it's probably the best fundraiser for nonprofits in Tehachapi. Last year, some of the monies that were distributed, one purchased a 18-foot trailer that is fully equipped for animal disaster relief. And so the money for that went to the Central California Animal Disaster Team. Money also went to the Tehachapi Parks and Rec Foundation, where they purchased playground equipment for special needs kids. So the fundraiser does really cool stuff in our town. And that's all. Okay. Any comments for the good of the cause from our members?
Just to beat the same horse I beat all the time. You remind me mentioning the lack of hotel space, but there also, California City, Mojave still needs some housing construction.
Yeah, it hasn't been.
When you have AV Transportation Agency starting bus routes from Lancaster and Palmdale into Mojave Air Spaceport, those are all paychecks that are earned here and leaving town. So we need some impetus to get some housing, whether it's single-family housing or whether it's townhouses or whatever it is. We've got to have a place for people to live close to where they work in eastern Kern County, because we're losing a lot of those paychecks.
Thank you. Anything else? Yes.
I need to get names before everybody names. People didn't say their names.
Tina needs names. If you spoke up, give Tina your name.
Thank you. Yeah.
I just got word. We have a new internet provider in the Kern Valley. It's called Lake Links. LINX. Lake Links. And it's a microwave system, however, it's fire-based microwave system. And they are brand new to the valley, and they are going to be delivering service to all ages of the end user. The amount of money you have to pay will be adjusted to their income. And these people are very cognizant about the fact that people that are local, and they're going to give seniors and some of the lower income folks a little bit of a discount on their bills, which Mediacom has not done at all. And Mediacom is still trying to get their fiber over the mountain for 10 years now. So we have a new one, and I am so happy. I can't tell you.
Congratulations.
Thank
Awesome.
you.
Awesome. Okay. Again, I just want to say thanks, and before you leave, go and walk over to my haul truck and look at it, go like this, gosh. Jay Leno said when he drove it, it was like driving the Empire State Building. Anyway, thank you all, and everyone travel safe back to your destination. Thank you, Erica. You bet.
On the 12th of July, 2019, Kern Economic Development Corporation is here in Boron at the Borax mine. This is one of the huge trucks that takes the ore, which we'll go look at, out of the mine. This is always an awesome sight, looking from the roof of the visitor center down into the Borax mine. Here's a replica of the 20 mule team that used to haul borax from Death Valley all the way to Mojave. The docents explained to us that there were actually only 18 mules and 2 horses, and that if we look closely at the last 2 animals in this string, we'd see that their ears are different, that they really are horses. We also heard today that the overlay of the mine, which you see stacked up, is full of lithium, and Rio Tinto is starting a program to extract that lithium, which is used so crucially in batteries, cell phones, etc.